Monica, how you doing?
Yeah, good to see you again. How are you?
Yes, I'm
Good.
fine. I'm really
Yeah.
good. I'm really good. Um, I would like to talk to you today about the Bridleless competition that's just gone on in the UK and all the energy that's coming up
Mm,
behind it.
mm,
And I've seen so many different posts and people commenting on it, and I'd really like to sort of unpack
mm,
that a little bit with you today, if
mm.
that's a good topic for you.
Yes.
Good then.
Um, yes. Listen, there's no taking away from the beauty of what was happening in the arena in the moment. I mean, some of those jumping around, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's the only way jumping should happen. Yeah, with that
Yeah,
with whatever you put on. I mean, the softness in the horses' bodies, at least the ones they showed us. Yeah, the ones they,
yeah.
but it looked like there were many different ones, and there were many good moments. You know, I always call them the soft moments. There were many soft moments that you could have
Hmm.
taken a still off and said, "That's a soft moment. That's a soft moment. That's a soft moment." And in the dressage as well. Maybe it was beautiful to see horses going nicely, maybe looking the other way to have that freedom, but still doing what they were doing. I can't take there's only good things to say about that. Now, like you, I have, there's a lot of people who come, oh, when how were they trained? That's a whole conversation for another day. How did they get there? Um, you know, my mini take on that without going too deep, the thought that I had was, well, when I learned to ride a bicycle, I have training wheels. That doesn't take away the credit of being able to ride my bicycle without the training wheels eventually. So, not that I would say that a bit needs to be the training wheels, but a bitless bridle, it could be a very suitable
Yeah. I like that.
training
Yeah.
wheels. There's some, I always say the seed is to ask and the reins are to explain. Something has to explain it a little bit further because the horses weren't born with these buttons installed. So yes, I mean, so beautiful what you see in front of the camera and in the arena. Um, there were two things. There were two things that I went, okay, I need to think about this, and I can't wait to talk to Rachel about this because the last thing I want to do is be a poopy scooper. No, that's and what I do in the mornings. Party pooper. Sorry.
That's better.
A party
It
pooper.
involves poop, one way or the other.
Yeah,
There's
it
poop
was poop
involved.
somehow. It was interesting that somewhere I read that a rule of the competition was that in public areas, outside the arena, the horses had to wear a bridle.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Mhm, mhm. Okay, so and yeah, for control, for safety.
Well, yeah.
So
Why? So why was that? Why do you
okay,
think that is?
okay, okay. So food for thought, food for thought.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing that tugged at my heart, and I had a hard time finding a good place, was the amount of winning that was going on outside the arena. So if some people had their recordings with sound on, and the stress of the animals. The ones in
Oh,
the
wow.
arena, there was one that,
Again, I'm going to go back and because I haven't
yeah,
noticed that, to see that
and then I go,
or hear that.
well, but then, ah, and then I want to celebrate it 100%. I had a dear friend who had two horses and did really well. And I know how hard she's worked for it. And I celebrate every step of the way with her. Uh, but it's the horses that weren't prepared emotionally to be in that environment. And I feel that once we take care of that, how prepared were the horses to be on the trailer, away from the herd, in a new environment, with a lot of other new horses? Da, da, da. When we can prepare our horses for all of that, but it takes time, prepare, so that none of that causes the stress that I could hear outside the arena. Because I know the venue, I've competed there myself at Mariswood.
Okay.
I know I could tell where the sound was coming from. It was coming from the warm-up arena outside. Yeah, that was right to
Okay.
the horse. So that's where it wasn't stabled horses that were nothing to do with it. It was from the warm-up arena. And and my friend's horse actually got distracted by all the winning at the end of her test and started whinnying back. Now, my question to you, can horses whinny because they're celebrating and they're going, yay, we're having such a good time?
What?
Um, well,
Um,
okay, so what does a horse whinnying in that high pitched whinny mean? You know?
um, yes. Well, like I said, I haven't heard any sound versions of that, so I'm definitely going to go and have a look. But I would suggest, well, no, a high pitched whin is when they're crying, which is much more like a scream. So
Mm-hmm.
it starts, all whinnies start slightly lower and then go high pitch. So if they're high pitched quicker and for longer, that is much more about where are you? Where am I? It's almost like a bat sending off
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm.
sound waves.
Sonic,
That's
sonic waves, yeah, yeah,
sonic
yeah.
waves. And they will get the reply. So it is a
Mhm.
conversation, but it's not necessarily it's definitely not a calm one. Sometimes it can be not necessarily over stressful. So, and it,
Okay,
it really
that's good to
depends on
know.
the reply. Was there a reply? And you're saying there was, because
Yeah,
if there
yeah.
is a reply, then that is much more stressful than when there is no reply. So, for example, this is
Oh.
perfect timing actually, because I took Champ out this morning for a little bit of a walk, and we're just mooching about, and Parker is calling, and Champ is not replying because he knows he doesn't have to. There's nothing, there's no danger. He's just wanting to know where he is, and that one call, if the sound waves are correct, he's going to find out where he is, and that's Champ saying in a way, without putting too much of a human twist on it, you're okay, pull yourself together. I'm having a nice time without you running around and playing all the time. And then he'll go quiet, and that's the end of it because he knows there's no need to be constantly calling. If
Mm,
the call back, then it's like reinforcing the anxiety to a degree.
mm, mm,
Um,
mhm,
so that's really interesting perspective because like you,
mhm,
well, when I first started seeing all of this footage, I was um, like really impressed and really happy
mm,
and really,
mm,
I was like talking to the post, one post particularly was a comparison of a dressage rider, all fully kitted, bitted,
mm.
all the rest of it, spurred, etc. And then the Bitless rider underneath. And we talk a lot about collection, 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 and how collection is this, parallel face, not behind the bit, but not above the bit, and all the rest of it. Yet the one and below looks so soft and so natural, and they have this
It's
natural, what
beautiful.
I call natural collection. Their head carriage
Mm.
is higher. They're
Yeah, yeah,
they're organizing their body to be able to carry the
absolutely.
rider and are allowed to,
Mm,
allowed to do it. It's like when
mm,
you've got a
yeah.
backpack on, you shift, you're shifting that backpack to make it, oh, that's the comfortable place, and now I can carry you.
Mm,
Whereas if
mm,
you're
mm,
being held in like
mm.
that, they can't do that. And so for me,
Mm.
that was my I knew it
Yeah, no,
moment.
and that's, yeah. And no, and as I said, I don't want to sound like I'm poo-pooing it because what was happening in the arena was short of almost miraculous and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wonderful and oh my gosh and beautiful. And did you have a chance to see the whole test of that gray horse? Did you
No,
come
I
across
didn't.
that video?
No, I didn't. No, no,
Okay,
no, I
because
haven't.
that horse did a Grand Prix. That horse did a Grand Prix test, which is absolutely
Right.
amazing.
All right.
With tempo changes, yeah, passage, the whole thing. It was very, very beautiful. I mean, and yes, if she, it didn't look robotic at all. It didn't look like, well, of course they trained it with it. Yes, I'm sure he had training wheels at some point because
Absolutely.
we only have 20, we only have 26 years to train these horses. So I don't have a problem with that. But of course, it's always come back to how the tools are used.
Yeah.
But
They reminded
yeah,
me
that
of
was beautiful to
watching
watch.
very old school dressage
Mm,
tests, like
mm,
years and years and years ago, even though
mm,
they were bitted,
Mm.
etc., but less dramatic, less, like you say, that sort of
Yeah, yeah,
almost like you know, taking them out of their natural collection and into into a forced shape, no matter how beautiful they
yeah.
think
It
it
was
is.
beautiful. It was very beautiful. The whole vibe around the event was wonderful, wonderful,
Excellent. But it's
wonderful.
interesting your
But
perspective.
just that one, only from our stand up for the horse thing, which is
Yeah,
what
yeah,
we're
yeah,
on about. Yeah.
yeah.
If I were here talking about what we can achieve with our horses, what we can do with them, there was a horse that did the 1 meter 20, which was the highest. I think that was the highest they jumped. It's just goosebump material. That horse.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know. Sadly, I don't know how competitive. I don't know. I'm just here still to surmising that maybe she can go very fast on that horse. If she would competitive by modern rules and which is what I hate about have who goes around the fastest no matter how.
Speed test, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you just have to go around the fastest no matter how. And that's why I love in America they call it hunter jumper, and I think in England they call it equitation jumping or something like that. That's a sport that I could consider because how the
Mhm.
horse is going around is also
It's
important.
important,
Is also
exactly.
considered.
Yeah.
Is
And
also honored.
I
Yeah, and
think
that
speed
horse, I mean,
jumping.
that was just so beautiful. It was
Mm,
so smooth. It was I call it dressage with bumps.
yeah.
Beautiful.
No. And did you
Beautiful.
notice, because I saw a little bit, whether it's the same horse or one of them, when they were jumping, the horse was looking. The horse had the ability to see where they were going and to calculate
Mhm.
the depth, depth perception and
Yeah.
all of that going
Yeah.
forward beyond their nose, as
Yeah.
opposed to a lot of when I watch and jumping, particularly speed jumping, what I see is the rider looking and they're already forcing the horse into the next movement before the horse has elevated
Mm.
over that jump. So they're assuming and they're lifting them up because they have at that point, does the horse know exactly what they're jumping? Anyway, yeah, interesting,
Mm.
interesting.
Mm. And what
But
was your take on it generally?
generally, I think it has to be a positive step. Generally, it
Absolutely.
has to be a positive step, and it
Mm.
has to be celebrated for those moments, like the sort of the without dumping it into a scientific conversation, but the biomechanics of the horse. We were talking about
Hmm.
your softer approach to biomechanics. Isn't that part of it in the sense that allowing the horse to use their bodies correctly and there being a partnership and so I do think
Mm.
it has to be celebrated for bringing that to the fore to say, look, this is how a horse looks when they are able to manage their own body and carry you at the same time so that you can do what you want to do and have your desires met. And I think
Yeah.
it has to be a positive thing. Above and beyond
Yeah.
that, what you're talking about, how stressful competitions are for horses in general, just moving about, etc.
Mm.
Yes, I mean that's still, there's a lot of work to do in all of it,
Mm. Mm.
but at least say without uh softening the stand up for your horse approach, which I don't want to do, but at least it's one step closer because they also
Absolutely.
could have had bits and spurs and whips and all the rest of it and still be
Mm.
stressed about being in a new place. So,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
It was very beautiful to watch.
we'll take it as a win, I think,
Oh,
in
totally.
general.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like, and I commend these ladies. I mean, I don't think I suppose you have to prepare for it. And the
Oh
amount of
yeah, I mean
trust.
it's like anything. It's like, they would. So, but
I,
having said that, at a ground roots level, because this is brilliant that it is now being highlighted publicly on a very, very public forum on Facebook and on social media, etc., and quite a lot of big voices are getting behind it and sharing it, etc. But I think it's also important to remember and to say that this is also happening, thankfully, on a ground roots level, foundation level. And
Root,
you are one.
a
Are
root
you?
level.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you are one of those that are actually with your
Yeah.
youngsters
Thank you.
that have had this within their program, um,
Mhm.
normalizing it, right?
Yes. 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 Again, it's a trust. You have to have the right horse. Not the right horse, the right training and lifestyle and mental
Yeah,
state
yeah.
on a horse. But yes, the children here, they all get the opportunity of riding bareback and bridleless.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, with a neck rope. We're not cantering around jumps, no, but
No.
my take on it, we're building the confidence, we're building the belief, and I love that word that you use, we're just normalizing it. It doesn't need to be such a huge deal that
Mm-mm.
we take our bridle off our horses in a safe enclosed area. And again, I'm not using a 3-year-old that's never been ridden before.
Well,
It's a pony that knows its job. And the children, it's just like normal, and the moms are all going, "Oh my gosh!" Like comments I get, "I want to be 6 again," or "I want to do that with my horse." It shouldn't be. It is a big deal because of where we're coming from, but it shouldn't be
yeah,
such a big deal.
it shouldn't be.
And that's
It
what,
shouldn't
yeah.
be.
I
But
mean,
I think
in
what I
in a
really
way,
love.
if Mhm.
No, I'm just, well, what I really love about that is that you're offering an opportunity for them to feel how, I mean, how how my childhood was. And I wish every child would be able to have uh, that sort of relationship with their pony, that sort of freedom, because it's about that freedom of friendship and relationship and stuff. And I love the fact that you give them that.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
Cool. Right. So in a
You're
nutshell,
frozen.
Monica, hello, hello.
Okay, are you back? Yeah.
I'm
Okay,
back.
so you might,
So
can you
wait,
hear me again?
yeah.
Okay,
In a
so
nutshell,
I lost you
Monica,
for a
what
little
would you
bit.
think?
Yeah, yeah. Just if we can edit this bit out, but could you
Yeah.
start again where you were saying about, because I think it's important what you were saying. Just before you said it's about the freedom. The bit I love about it is that you're giving these children and then you broke off.
Okay. It's probably recorded still though, so I'll go back and find out which one's the best. I can't.
Okay.
What I what I love about
Okay.
what you're giving these children is the opportunity to experience their ponies like I did as when I was growing up, which is all about freedom and friendship and being together with, and having that relationship with their ponies. I love the fact that you're offering that because it's something you don't see often enough, in my opinion. So in a nutshell,
In a nutshell, I think the world is going in the right direction for horses.
mhm,
And in a nutshell, I feel all our little bubbles are slowly starting to connect. In a nutshell, I need to not, sometimes I do feel, oh, there's so many people talking about it and artificial intelligence, and I get a little bit despondent and I think I'll just go back to working in my backyard. And then something like this happens. I said, it's working.
yeah,
The whole collective consciousness is
there
starting
you
to
go.
shift, I feel,
Are you allowed three
and that's important.
nutshells? I'm not
It,
sure.
it's interesting. Sorry.
I said, are you allowed three nutshells? I'm not sure if that counts.
Oh, well, it's a coconut shell, and what I wanted to add is this is not part of the nutshell, just as an addendum. It's interesting that this kind of competition exists in Poland, and it has exists annually for a few years now.
Wow.
Um, but it's interesting that it had to happen in the UK. Maybe the UK has a better way of getting the word out there, or just more cloud.
Maybe.
I don't, I have no idea what the thing is, but it's one, I wish the ones that have happened in Poland had the coverage that this one has had as well. Because this isn't the first time. I mean, I'm
Oh
not,
well.
that doesn't take away from it. It's
No,
even
I
more
know, but
exciting that somebody else is doing it as well. And I hope it starts happening in every year. And I'm already thinking, how can we have one here in Spain? But because I mean, as you know, this would be and it has in the past been a great venue for competition, but I will not hold a normal competition here.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And the
yeah,
last
yeah.
time last time I held a competition at my previous yard, um, it was a bitless. It was a bitless one, I believe. It was a bitless, yes, although, and then one person asked if she could come bridleless, and I said, absolutely. But I found myself saying you need to use your bridle in common areas. I found myself saying that as well.
Right. Mm-mm-mm.
Because, well, I don't know, so I understand it, but that means that we're not trusting the total control yet, a total
Exactly.
communication.
That's
It's not, because, they're children walking around, and the last thing I need is this horse out of control and breakdown
yeah,
in
yeah.
communication with its rider.
Well,
So once it was in the arena and everything was closed off and enclosed and safe enclosed area, then
well,
it had a
perhaps
bitless bridle on it.
that's. I'd like to think then that that's more about um, if somebody did lose control, then the whole event would be focused only on that. That would
No,
be
no,
the
no,
only thing that
absolutely.
would have been publicized. But I do
Yeah,
hope, I don't
true.
know, but I do hope that when they said you have to put your bridle, I'm talking now about the competition that's just gone on in the UK, that you have to put your bridle on it in the public area, in the communal areas. Were they bitless?
Yeah, the one I saw being taken off was bitless, but I saw people riding around in bitted ones.
Okay. Okay.
The one I saw being taken off at as they entered the arena was a bitless one. And so I only said
Right.
they're bitless, but then I saw, and it doesn't matter. I mean, they have different kind of training wheels. We'll put it down that they're the training
Yeah,
wheels.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
what they did inside, it doesn't. I don't think it takes away from what they were doing inside the arena.
No, no. It's just another step that we can ask them to take next time.
Yeah, yeah, but I suppose it's a bit like Formula One's. I like to look for analogies. This Formula One might not be the same, but you wouldn't take a Formula One on normal roads. And that's not a good one. It's just it's insurance, it's safety, it's liability. All of that
Mm-hmm.
needs to be considered because at the end of the day, they are living creatures. Something could go bang, so a piece of roof could fall off.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
No, absolutely.
So
Exactly.
no, it only makes sense.
No, I mean, it goes
It
back to the
only
same
makes
sort of
sense.
argument about wearing a hat. You wear a hat because not because you don't trust your
Mm.
horse, not because you don't have a good relationship with your horse. It's because they are sentient beings and stuff happens.
Yeah, and I say that I wear a hat because I can't turn off gravity. Otherwise, I wouldn't wear a hat.
You go. Yeah.
I
I
don't
quite
want
like the little bit of brains I've still got in between my ears.
and and in England, for insurance purposes, when I went bitless at the riding school, I had to search deep to find an insurance that would insure me to teach the children
Oh wow.
bitless.
Mhm.
Yeah, because that was, and it took a woman that was involved with one of the big natural horsemanship programs. Her husband was an insurance broker, and he realized that her horses were less of a risk than other horses, so he started insuring them, and then that's how it's got out there.
Oh right, good.
However, you could go bitless even on the roads, but you couldn't go bridleless on the roads. I could go bridleless with the children on my premises, but not on the road, and fair enough, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. That's fair
Fair
enough.
enough. Yeah. No, I think it's
Excellent.
all in all, yeah, all in all, it was a brilliant thing for horses, what happened this weekend. Brilliant
Yeah,
thing for horses because I'm sure there will be lots of people. I mean, I hope they all take the proper steps and the proper guidance and not just suddenly take
whack
their
off the
bridles
bridle
off
and go,
and
let's
start
go.
over. And they stay safe because that's the reality of it all. but it's great that that little bug is in people's
Do you know
ears.
what my little hope is? That even if they don't think about going bridleless, or they don't think about going bitless, which would be the logical first step anyway, is that
Yeah.
they see the horse's bodies
Body.
and minds
Absolutely.
and emotions and
So
say,
true.
okay, even though I have this, I don't need to use it in force. I can let them breathe mentally, emotionally, and
So
physically.
beautiful. Yeah,
That's what I would
absolutely.
love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
Brilliant.
more of that.
Thank you.
More of that. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you soon. Bye.
See you soon. Take care. Bye.